Good morning, and thank you for tuning into the Andrew Tate Show, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We've got a great show for you guys today. We're going to be covering ESPN joining the ACC in the lawsuit against Florida State. We'll also be talking about Cam Newton getting into a brawl at Atlanta 7-7 football game. Then we'll be talking about a husband who boarded a flight and departed without his wife after she insisted on getting a Starbucks. And then, as always, at the end of the show, we'll be diving into our oddities of the day. Before we start, I'd like to ask that you guys like and follow the show. We get a number of questions from the viewers that come in during the show, so to ensure that your question gets read on the air, I ask that you use the tips and donation link with your question. The tips and donation link is streamelements.com/gsmcsportsnetwork./tip. This puts your question at the top of the list so that I can see it, and it also just really helps the show. Hello, Tate. How are you?
Happy day after Monday.
Happy day after Monday. Yeah, I told Tate before we started the show, I was like, today really feels like Monday. It does not feel like Tuesday to me.
Yes. So happy day after Monday.
Happy day after Monday.
You know, so it's one of those things, no computer issues. I have backup camera, everything.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. I'm going to knock on some wood right here.
Girl, also, you started talking about that third segment, and I'm like, I kind of want to talk about that right away. And see, I'm going to tell you right out the gate, this is the stuff behind the scenes. I definitely want to hear your side on what you're going to say on that one too. You got to bring it for sure on that one. So, and then it's an interesting day today on some of the topics. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens.
Yeah, I do have, before we start, I want to announce that I am doing really well right now with a plant that I got a couple weeks ago. It has sprouted and she's doing great. I'm normally someone that kills plants. I've never been able to keep a plant alive, but this one, I'm like, it's going to happen. I'm going to have a plant. I'm going to take care of it. I'm going to do a good job. So right now we're on like week 3 of the plant and she's doing great.
Okay. So what kind of plant is this?
So it's a basil plant, but what's so funny about it is it's like a starter plant. Like it's in a little tiny little tiny pot, and it came with a kit and instructions on how to take care of it. So, and I got a little plant light for it because my place doesn't get a lot of sunlight. So I have a little plant light that turns on and off in 8-hour increments. So, and I'm watering it when it needs to be watered. I check it every day.
See, I'm thinking about you doing this, and then I'm thinking about when I was in college, and I used to have these Venus flytraps because, guys think that stuff is kind of funny and cool, I had these things forever. They were awesome. And people would they wouldn't just feed it like other insects. They'd feed it like pizza, everything like that.
The fact that it stayed alive after feeding it pizza is crazy.
It totally stayed alive until one mistake. Someone gave it a piece of bologna and it killed the whole thing. And I was like, oh no, maybe I should not be. If this thing can eat pizza and hot dogs, but it can't survive a slice of bologna, I'm like, oh no. So yes, that's what killed my Venus flytraps in college. Don't know why that's an important part of this one, but this is caring is called sharing.
Oh gosh, yeah. That's cool though that you had Venus flytraps. I forget that you can just have those.
Oh yes. Oh no, I had Venus. My college dorm room, or sorry, I lived in a fraternity house, so I didn't live. Does that surprise you? I lived in a fraternity house.
I mean, Yes and no. I mean, I wouldn't take you for a guy that would have been in a fraternity, but I was also in a sorority, and a lot of people
Okay.
don't think that take me for a Greek life girl. So, I mean,
So I lived in a fraternity house, and I was not one of those guys that had like, Budweiser poster here and this. No, I wanted like a nice
you had to
laid
keep
out
it
place.
classy.
So much so that people like my room was so like I made it into like a living room,
Hmm.
and people would try to rent my room out for their dates. I was like, give me a 20 spot. It's yours for the next few hours.
I don't know if I would be okay with that.
See,
They'd have to
I,
sign a contract of what they can
I
and cannot do in
speak
my room.
I speak faith-ease. Soon you said that I knew you that little sentence told me so much. I knew everything that you
We'd have
thought
to
about in that quick second.
we'd have to form up a contract of what you can and can't do in the bedroom.
That's a whole nother.
Okay.
This is why, like, if we ever bring the whole membership thing back at GSMC, these are the conversations during the membership. All right, Faith. So what were you saying? What's going in this clause? Okay,
All
and
right.
speaking of that, one more thing.
Mm.
Yesterday, I forget what we were talking about. Oh, it was the woman and the AI boyfriend
Hmm.
and certain parts of you. And just the look you gave, I knew everything you thought about it. It was like that. I had read Faith, and it was like, oh no.
Oh, okay.
All right, let's move on.
Moving on. Alrighty, so we've got some more stuff to add to this lawsuit with the ACC and Florida State. The gift that just keeps on giving.
College football, right?
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Yeah. Okay. So the ESPN joins the ACC in a lawsuit against Florida State, references potential felony in disclosing trade secrets. Florida State has another opponent in its legal battle with the ACC, which is ESPN. The network is implying the school and its lawmakers might have committed a felony in its attempt to leave the Atlantic Coast Conference. The broadcasting giant owned by Disney submitted a filing in North Carolina court in support of the conference's lawsuit against the FSU's Board of Trustees, who are trying to exit the ACC's grant of rights media deal. In the Thursday filing, ESPN said the deal contains textbook trade secrets and that publicly disclosing the terms of the media deal would be destabilizing and harmful. ESPN comes out guns blazing in the February 22nd filing, calling itself the worldwide leader in sports, in the opening sentence and claiming the details of the argument between the network and the ACC should remain sealed. FSU has argued that the figures should be released as it tries to break off the deal set to expire in 2036.
Okay.
Whew.
So the first off, you're right. College football, this whole thing is just it's this messy soap opera.
Yeah.
It's like WWE and All My Children's the Guiding Light, all the soap operas, and there's multiple plot lines, whether it's name, image, and likeness, Florida State, the Pac-12, the college football playoffs. It's like, man, it is nuts. The first thing I thought of when I saw this, it was like, uh-oh, Florida State messed up. Yeah. And here is the reason why Florida State has messed up. Because you've kind of upset Daddy Warbucks. You
That's
know,
an interesting way to put it.
you can't be. Listen, if you got that uncle that really likes you, Faith, and well, we're not talking the creepy uncle now.
Oh, okay. I was like,
We're talking about that uncle. The uncle come sit on my lap. No, 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 no. We're talking. We're talking that uncle that he cares about you. He's helping sending you money for books and college tuition and
I've had
things of
both.
that nature. See, that's damn. That took me a second to process. Oh, Jesus. This is going to the membership section.
Anyway, moving on.
Okay, conversation. We having this conversation after hours. Okay. So, wow, you just threw me for a loop on that one. Anyway, that uncle, the reason I call it Daddy Warbucks is, why is Florida State doing this? Because they want to get out of the ACC to go to a conference that pays a lot more money.
Right.
Well, there's only two. It's either the Big Ten, which is NBC and CBS. No, it's Fox, or it's the SEC, which is ESPN. ESPN is the one that's paying all that money to the SEC. Well, guess what? By upsetting one of your suitors, it cuts you back. Maybe the SEC may not end up being a viable partner for them. Maybe even if they break the granted rights and they're able to go, maybe ESPN is like, no, listen, we were under contract. You caused all this problems. You gave out, you put our contracts out there for everyone to see, which we didn't want. We don't want you as a partner. And that would eliminate the SEC as an option. SEC, whom ESPN pays like 60 to $80 million a year, depending on where it's at in the contract of things. Or Florida State, the school that causes all these problems. Which one is and Florida doesn't really want them there. They have a problem with ESPN. Which one do you think the SEC is going to go with? Hey, let's bring in this troublemaker. Come on down. Or no. You have to be careful how you leave a situation. And the fact that this is very serious because of the fact that they didn't just say, hey, kind of like cease and desist. Hey, calm down a little bit. No, they went in and said they joined the lawsuit, legal action against Florida State. Not only that, they're making what Florida State has done is criminal.
Right.
It's more than illegal. They're saying it's criminal what they have done. This is more than just, hey, we're not happy with you. You understand where I'm coming from with this one?
Yeah.
That makes it a lot tougher. And it also makes it where if this whole name, image, and likeness thing, you mix up this whole granted rights issue. Well, the two places that can really let them out of it, the ACC and the Big Ten have Florida State's media rights. Well, those are the two that hold all the cards, and they're both suing you. This makes it even less likely that anyone is going to be willing to compromise with them. Either I feel like it is getting to the point where it's all or nothing for Florida State. Either they win this or nothing. I don't see, with ESPN getting the ACC's back and then joining into the lawsuit, I don't see how, if they don't win outright, how do you get out of this granted right? ESPN and Disney's not going to be like, you know what? I know you owe us. It's going to be $500 million plus $150 30 to 180 million dollars to break the contract. So right about 700 million, but we're going to give you a discount. Maybe, before I thought the path for them to get out of this contract was to fight it and then work on a settlement with ESPN saying like, hey, you let us out of the contract, we'll pay the exit fee, maybe plus a little extra, but we'll sign with the SEC so that you still have our rights. Everyone wins. I always thought that was their ultimate goal. But now with ESPN coming out and suing Florida State and joining in with the ACC, I feel like this is a game changer. I think it's kind of like the NCAA picking on Tennessee. They started a fight. I don't think they can win. And I think Florida State has started a battle that I don't know if they can win on this one. The only way, the one saving grace for Florida State with this, there's two. One, if they can get a Florida judge to be the one that rules on this and get that part settled, and he just says flat out, this was done wrong, and we throw it out. That would be the best option for them. Option two is that they need to get a dance partner. And what I mean by that is they're the one making the noise, but everyone knows that Clemson, Florida State, Virginia, North Carolina are just waiting in the weeds to see if there's a crack, we're diving in there too. Well, with ESPN suing Florida State, either they're going to have to get some partners that are going to be a lot more vocal, or does it make those guys that are thinking about leaving say, you know what, we want to be even further away from Florida State, because we don't want to bite the hand that feeds us as well. So Clemson and Miami and all those guys are like, you know what, Florida State's way over here, we're here. We would like to leave the ACC, but not Florida State's way, where they're burning down the kitchen on the way out. Because I feel like that's what they're doing. They're burning bridges that they may need to cross again. And I think that Florida State is really hurting themselves. It's going to be hard for them to get out of this contract. It's going to be hard for them to get out of the contract, especially now that ESPN has come out so strongly against them. Where I think with this whole college football playoffs, they could have made an adjustment where I think the smart move was like, we're gonna stay in the ACC. Maybe we bring in Washington State and Oregon State to strengthen up and give us more numbers so that we can get a bigger chunk of the college football playoffs, kind of that route. Because if they're going the private equity route, where they're going to borrow $700 million to get out of this contract, what is that? Yes, it gets you out of the contract, but you still have to pay a mountain of money to get out. And now you may only have one partner, and that's the Big Ten, because the SEC is strongly in the ESPN court. That they're part of that ESPN camp. ESPN's number one college football partner is the SEC, and Florida State has upset them. So I think it's foolish. It's when keeping it real goes wrong. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely, when I saw this, that ESPN was joining the ACC in the lawsuit, I was like, oh, it's over for Florida State, man. It's over for them. Honestly, with ESPN joining the ACC in this lawsuit, I don't see how Florida State is going to be able to get anything out of this at all. And I think Florida State should just quit while they're ahead.
I don't see. this is one of those
Because
things where a lot of people disagree with that. I feel like you don't have to destroy the ACC.
mm-hmm,
Maybe I could see coming together. You guys have been together for a long time, working together to come to ESPN and try to renegotiate.
mm-hmm.
Although it's a pretty sweet deal for ESPN at 36 million a year,
Yeah.
30 something million a year, where they're paying 80, to the SEC. But man, I just think this was not thought through, and losing one of the possibly, I'm not going to say they have lost it because there's a lot of strange bedfellows in the world out there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but what's their play? What's their play? If the Big Ten comes out and says, you know what, we've expanded enough. We have 18 teams in the
Mm-hmm.
Big Ten. We don't want Florida State. Or what if they say, you know what? They're too messy. We want Miami and
Mm-hmm.
North Carolina. See you later. Let's say they break up the Big Ten and the SEC doesn't want Florida State. Florida State, be careful what you wish for. You might get it in a situation where what happens? They break it up and the SEC says no to Florida State and the Big Ten says it. And
Mm-hmm.
now they have to either go as an independent or join the Big 12 or something crazy like that. Be careful what you're asking for.
Yeah.
And I hope they're smart enough to have like checked behind the scenes, like, hey, Big Ten, are you interested in us? Hey,
Mm-hmm.
SEC, are you okay with us? Because if they have not done their due diligence behind the scenes,
Nobody's gonna want them now.
especially if you're, an SEC team who's in bed with ESPN, this could be bad.
Yeah, I agree. Whew. I
It
honestly
doesn't
look
even.
forward to when new stuff comes out about this because I feel like I'm watching, like The Bachelor or something like that.
Is it not every other day?
It really is, yeah.
It has just become like this whole crazy concept
Mm-hmm.
where every other day you can just like, oh, it's a slow news day, Faith. Let's see, are we gonna do a story on the NBA,
Mm-hmm.
the NFL? Oh, there you go. Florida State just got sued by ESPN. Throw it in there, no
Yeah.
problem. It's the gift that keeps on giving.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about Cam Newton being
Hang
involved in
on.
a brawl at Atlanta 7 versus 7 football game. So stay tuned.